So the biggest thing of today is absolutely 100% positively the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, and we have it like all. We have everything ready. And I think that's probably the big gaming news of the day, right? If there's any big gaming news, it's that. It's the Nintendo Switch 2 with its official reveal and price all ready to go. And I mean, if even if you're not a Nintendo fan, you have to look towards this with some amount of excitement and anticipation because it means there's going to be a lot of changes in the industry again, right? Not because the Switch 2 is not more than just a reiteration of the Nintendo Switch or an iteration of the Nintendo Switch, but better, but also because Nintendo always has that Nintendo magic when it comes to what they can do with hardware. The Nintendo Switch 2 from the Direct itself, or from the Direct, talked about a lot of things, including games, including pricing. I don't think they talked about pricing actually, but including games and the release. Here it is, boop. But also some of the key specs, right? Like the C button for the game chat, the mouse mode, and the hardware requirements or the hardware inside the dock that let you do 4K 60 docked and 4K and 1080p 120, potentially up to 120, on the system itself with a big 8-inch screen and magnetic Joy-Cons with full-size analog sticks. So I think that this is a big milestone. This is a huge upgrade of the original Nintendo Switch. And as you guys see here, here's the kickstand, here's the magnetic Joy-Cons. They're showing off one of the accessories in the Switch 2 Pro controller, which looks pretty similar to the original Pro controller, just a little bit bigger and has that C button in the middle for the game chat. And the Nintendo Switch itself with the magnetic Joy-Con showing how it comes off and it's on a rail system. Very similar to the Legion Go or like the Pimax Portal, but the Legion Go doesn't have magnets. The Pimax Portal does. So it's very similar to something like the Pimax Portal. It has grippies too, not very big ones. The grips on the back of the Joy-Con still aren't great in comparison to something like a Steam Deck, an Asus ROG Ally, a Legion Go. Even are the grip buttons any good? You're talking about the ones. Oh, these two right here. These are bigger than they were on the original Nintendo Switch. ZL and ZR, yeah, they're significantly bigger. If that's what you mean, that probably helps for a lot of people who played in tabletop mode in dual Joy-Con mode. Two players like this. No, the grip buttons on the Pro. See, I didn't even know that. The big innovation that I found out about on the Pro controller is that they added an audio jack. Big innovation from Nintendo. Let's go. Only 20 years behind the rest of the industry. Everyone give Nintendo a round of applause for that. That's really good. And here we go. Maybe after the talk segments, but I got a ton, so probably not, unfortunately. Sorry. I got a ton of stuff to yap about today. Here is the release date in 6/5/2025. That is June 5th. Is that June or July? That's June. June 5th. So about 2 months from now. You've got 2 months to save for either $450 or let's just be real. Y'all want Mario Kart World, right? So instead, just save $500. You got 2 months to save $500. Don't pay your car payment. Don't pay your mortgage. Don't pay your rent if you don't own a house. Don't pay your babysitters. Maybe don't pay your phone bill. You'll have this money in no time flat. I think it is time to get the Nintendo Switch 2, and I really like that the star game, right, is going to be Mario Kart World, but it's kind of weird that they don't have an actual normal packing game. I'm really sad. I miss the days of Switch. Or what was it? Wii Sports, right? There wasn't a packing game with the GameCube, and I don't think there was one with the Wii U. There might have been. I don't remember the Wii U much. I don't think anyone who isn't a super diehard Nintendo fan does. But packing games, especially with like new consoles, feel like a treat, like an extra treat on top of just an already established good designed package. And I'm going to say it now, I think the Nintendo Switch 2 is significantly more well designed than the original Nintendo Switch. The pack-in title is Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild with stable frame rates. Yeah, except you got to rebuy them at 60 bones a pop. But stable frame rates, that's huge. We can also look at the games list before we look at the accessories, because I think you guys probably care more about the games, and I do too. And that is very, very important. First of all, Nintendo Switch Online now has GameCube support. I'm going to start with this because I'm extremely excited about this. And we have a few games already established for the GameCube titles, right? On the GameCube titles so far, they don't show them here. Damn. I wish they showed them. I'd have to watch this again. If you already own them, the upgraded versions are 10 apiece. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Thanks for reading the website so I don't have to. F-Zero GX, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. I like how there's the twice in that title. I never noticed. And Soul Calibur 2 on the Nintendo Switch with more games coming in the future. Some games include fun in-game options like retro screen filters or widescreen gameplay support. That's huge, especially because I believe some of these are going to have online play if the games could normally work multiplayer natively. So this could be a way that we get games that aren't naturally going to be remasters, like something like Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, Soul Calibur 2, even Custom Robo, games that Nintendo is not going to do a full remaster of. Pokemon Coliseum, Gale of Darkness, Luigi's Mansion, Chibi Robo, yeah, all of those, boom, could get put onto the Nintendo Switch Online. Unfortunate, you got to pay for Nintendo Switch Online Plus if you want to keep these, but there is a way for the new generation to access these games again, and I think that's a step in the right direction for Nintendo. Kind of obnoxious, but a step in the right direction. And, better something than nothing, I always say, right? No, those 4 are confirmed. Oh, cool. Those are confirmed for the future. Nice. And then for the actual games, there's going to be, of course, Mario Kart World, which I think is really sick. It looks cool. I'm glad that we're not sticking with Mario Kart 9 again for another generation, because Mario Kart 8, because Mario Kart 8 is over 10 years old, right? It came out with the Nintendo Wii U, or during the Nintendo Wii U's lifetime, and then they just redid 8 Deluxe. They made 8 Deluxe specifically for the Switch, because so few people actually bought the Wii U that they could just use the same game and add new characters and new DLC. But now we're getting a whole new game, and that was extremely apparent from the fact that there was 24 racers, and DK and Peach looked very different from their iterations in Mario Kart 8. 11 years? Holy crap. Over 10 years, over a decade. That's a long time. I think the thing I'm very excited about is a new DK. And the reason why Bonanza, let's go, sick name, has me excited is because, one, it's 2D DK, but it's also 3D DK, right? They're taking the Sonic approach, which I think is good. And we haven't had a 3D DK game since Donkey Kong 64. I would have been a small baby child. And this is a huge, if this is launch title, this is not launch title, but it's very close. Look at that. July 17th. This is within the launch window, right? This is a month within the launch window, and I think that's sick. And Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Nintendo Switch 2 edition. We don't know if this is going to be a launch title. It just has available 2025. But this is a highly requested and awaited game. People have been waiting forever for a new Metroid Prime, Nintendo's Prime first-person shooter, as it were. And hopefully it's going to have a great story, amazing world building, and the same sick 3D Metroidvania first-person action we expect from the Metroid Prime series. And also, I'm hoping to God that it has online multiplayer. Please, Nintendo, please. I don't know if it's confirmed. I don't know anything about it. But man, if this game has like multiplayer, like I think Metroid Prime 2 Echoes had multiplayer, like local multiplayer. If this has online, that's juicy. There's a few other games, including Kirby Air Riders, Drag X Drive. This is like using the Joy-Con 2 mouse controls. And I think that's really interesting to have a game that's specifically going to use the mouse controls to kind of show it off. And then the Welcome Tour, of course. I believe this is going to be a launch title, probably the pack-in title. Kind of like, what was it, Astro's Playroom? Yeah, Astro's Playroom. I'm thinking of it kind of like that. Air Riders is interesting because we haven't had an Air Riders. We didn't get an Air Ride sequel. So this is Air Riders 2. Basically, after more than 11 years, because it was on the Nintendo GameCube, so it would be close to 20 years old by now. That's a long time. I think 18 years old or something. That's criminal. People are just gonna call this a Mario Kart ripoff, but it's significantly more difficult, if I may say so myself, than Mario Kart. Same thing as F-Zero GX, right? You can't call F-Zero GX a Mario Kart ripoff because it's its own kart riding beast. It's very different. I'm going to say it now. Other than some of the remakes and remasters and ports, like the Elden Ring port, the redoing of Hogwarts Legacy, Borderlands 4 coming to the Nintendo Switch, I'm trying to think of Yakuza 0, I think that the Duskbloods is the most interesting. This is a FromSoft game that is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2. They're really pulling an Elden Ring. They're really pulling a Bloodborne on us. Again, I'm so fucking mad. We're gonna let maybe we'll let the whole trailer rock. Maybe we'll just get to like the cool parts or something. There's like a bunch of like vampire-esque stuff here, and then here we go. Now we can look at the stuff that I think matters a lot. It also looks very visually appealing. Look at that. That looks really good, especially for what people are saying is supposed to be PS4 Pro levels of performance from the Switch 2. This looks really good. Now, of course, this isn't blown up at 4K or even blown up at 1080p. But man, that looks good. I thought this was Elden Ring Night Rain for a second, and then I saw the fucking gun. I was like, oh, is this Elden Ring Night Rain? They're putting that on Switch 2 as well? That's awesome. And this guy's creep. This guy's gonna haunt my dreams. I don't know if I'm playing this game, bro. I'm gonna be quite honest. I don't really like Souls games anyway.
Close your eyes and contemplate now the moon.
Unfortunately, we saw no gameplay, but you know what to expect, right? If it's FromSoft, you guys know what to expect. I don't think I have to show you guys a FromSoft game. They're very ubiquitous in the way that they play. Everyone understands them and knows how they work, how they function, and it's usually just some sort of like a reskin with new moves, new abilities, and they have their formula down. I'm not trying to slight at all FromSoft. I'm not trying to say that all their games are the same, but they have their formula down and people understand it and people love it. That's what I mean to say before I offend somebody, because I know FromSoft players they'll find me, they'll dox me, and they'll kill me in a video game. They probably not in real life, but they'll find me in a video game and they'll kill me with like the name Elden Ring Lover or something. And then of course we have a few of the games coming that are of course ports or remasters. We're getting Final Fantasy remake, Final Fantasy 7 remake. We're getting Cyberpunk 2077, Hades 2, which never even made it to the Switch 1, unfortunately, I don't believe, because it's still in early access. So by the time this comes out, Switch 2 will be out. Split Fiction, which just recently came out. Street Fighter 6 Years 1 and 2 Fighter Edition. I think this is awesome because it's coming after Elena will have already been out. So they'll just have the full DLC of Season 1 and Season 2 put together as Fighters Edition with gyro controls. Like, you're going to be able to play like Naruto Clash of Ninja Revolution 3. Shout out to all my Rev 3 fans, if you guys know. And then a bunch of other games here. Hollow Knight, Silksong. Look at that. We didn't actually see any Silksong, but they showed Silksong. It's right there. Silksong, Witchbook, I don't know what this is. Wild Hearts, S, Shadow Labyrinth. Reanimal, Fast Fusion. This looks like a fast zero gravity racer. I think that looks very cool. A new Ridge Racer, but this Arcade Archives, and then of course Fortnite, and then all of the 2K and EA Sports titles. Especially because now they'll be a lot more updated and won't look so bad. Also, the Marvel Comic Invasion game, I saw that. This looked very interesting. So I think the lineup of games coming to the Nintendo Switch that are already confirmed looks Nintendo Switch 2 look very good. Extremely good. I'm pretty excited just for the, and it's funny because I talked about like my dream titles and I mentioned a new F-Zero, but instead they just gave us F-Zero GX again. They just gave us the best F-Zero again. They're just like, well, I don't think we can top GX. Fuck, what do we do? Release it again. Yeah, release it again, bro. No mention of a Star Fox. No mention of a Star Fox. But that's okay. I did also call that they would potentially probably be porting Elden Ring or adding a new, you know what it is, of course, a certified yapper, baby. You know what it is. Of course, adding a new or existing FromSoft game, they did both. That was fucking huge meta call on my pick. Duh. I think everyone could have seen that coming, that at least we'd be getting Elden Ring because it's probably the most popular. With Low-Key Week, I think that there was a lot of stuff in there that felt like fluff, but I do like the games that were shown, the Nintendo games that were shown, right? Like, I miss some of the OG games. Like, we don't get a Star Fox. We got Kirby Air Riders. We don't get an actual Kirby game. No Yoshi's game. But I think the games, and no Smash, no, the actual first party AAA games. I think Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza are two really good launch games. I wish Metroid Prime Beyond was ready in time for launch. If this game was ready in time for launch, I think this game would carry the system as its single player seller. But unfortunately, it'll probably have to be one of the ports, like the Cyberpunk 2077 or Intergrade, if that's ready by the time it comes out, or Split Fiction. So, but I think there's a lot of good games on the way. But the launch roster, you're right, it looks a little weak. It looks a little anemic, as it were. But, I mean, what can you do, right? Consoles always get better as their libraries expand, so you can only expect so much. Now, the last thing is the accessories, which I think is very interesting. They brought back a lot of Switch 1 style accessories, right? Like, so they have the Pro Controller, but the Pro Controller has back pedals, boop. It's got the 2 back buttons. Nintendo is finally innovating. By innovating, I mean catching up to the rest of the world. It has a headphone jack now. Still has the HD Rumble, which I think is really good. I believe it also has gyro as well. And then it has, you know, the standard button layout, 2 thumbsticks, and all of the face buttons. Very nice. For $80, I don't know, like price-wise, it seems really high. You can get like good third-party controllers with gyro support for PC, and even for Nintendo Switch 1 for half of that, almost half of that, for like $50. So it's really pricey. Nintendo does price their own first-party stuff relatively high, and, you know, I guess that's a part of the experience of buying from Nintendo, right? That Nintendo tax, that's what they call it. The Joy-Cons, once again, pretty fucking pricey at $90, but you have to think about the new features you're getting. You're getting the built-in microphone, you're getting the game chat button, you're getting the mouse mode, the optical mouse on both, and you're getting significantly better joysticks and grip buttons, the ZLZR or whatever they are on the inside. I don't know what they're called. Sorry, SLSR maybe, right? And they're not so typically you have to buy a set. I'm kind of fucking with the Donkey Kong game, not gonna lie. Yeah, I think it's cool too, but it's not on launch. It's like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. That kind of sucks. If that game was on launch, I would be so much happier, because I think that would like be the single player experience that I'd play for launch. Because Mario Kart World isn't a single player. Like, yeah, you could play a single player, but it's more fun with friends. It's more fun online. Like, let's be real. I'm pretty sad about that. Like, it doesn't seem like there's a good first party Nintendo game ready for launch that is a single player experience. And I hate that, because it means you're just using the new features of the new device with old games. Right now, you're going to play Tears of the Kingdom with enhancements. You're going to play Breath of the Wild with enhancements. Yes, critically acclaimed games. I personally don't like that style of Legend of Zelda. I like the more toned down world exploring, but no crafting systems, very unique and one-time items that you pick up, like the Ocarina of Times and the Wind Wakers and Twilight Princess, how you're not crafting things. The more traditional Legend of Zelda is what I mean to say. So they've never really appealed to me, and I don't get, there's nothing that I have in that camp on Nintendo Switch 2 immediately, right? It's nothing for me. I guess I could play Wind Waker on Nintendo Switch Online Plus. The Joy-Con 2 Charge and Grip, which is $40. Once again, seems unreasonable because you're pairing that with the left and right Joy-Con 2 controllers. you're like pairing that with it. So this is like $150 almost controller. I mean, it charges it, but damn. And it doesn't even feel all that, like, it doesn't look like it's all that ergonomic, right? You can get this same experience from something like a Lenovo Legion Go with a grip for half the price. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. Nintendo tax. Joy-Con 2 straps. Why are literal pieces of plastic and elastic $13? I don't know. Not sure. But here they are. And these, I think, are supposed to be strapped on for when you're using the mouse control specifically. That's what these are made for. So I guess it's not too out of the ordinary. 2 racing wheels. Glad it's $20. I guess it's $10 a pop. They're magnetically locked in. Seems cool. Better than just like placing them in there. Honestly, dude, I just play with I don't be turning my shit when I'm playing Mario Kart. I've never, except on the Wii, because I thought it was very novel. I'll never do it again. The Nintendo Switch 2 camera. This is for the This is for the tabletop and hand. This is for when you want to use in-game chat features and show your face and stuff. Right? That's what this is for. I don't know if they're gonna have some way to live stream your gameplay directly to the internet, like through Twitch or YouTube, like the new consoles have. I believe you can even Discord stream on the new consoles, on current generation consoles, the Xbox Series S and X and the PS5. I don't know if that's going to be a feature that Nintendo wants to do. But if they do, it'd be really nice, because it means that you no longer need a capture card to also just like be a streamer who has a Nintendo Switch 2. It makes it very easy for you to do very simple live streams the same way I did back in the day when I first started streaming. Also, it's my affiliate anniversary for anyone who's watching live on Twitch on my PS4. That was how I started. That was how I became affiliate. I did that way before I ever got a gaming PC, way before I ever got a streaming PC or a capture card. And I hope that this $50 camera enable some of that. It'd be really sad if it didn't. The Nintendo Switch 2 dock is really fucking expensive. $110 for a dock. I thought the Steam Deck dock was pricey in comparison to like regular USB-C docks that work with all of the gaming handhelds, but this shit is insane. I understand that there is a camera in here. I'm sorry, not a camera. There is a built-in microphone in here, and and there's a fan in here. But I don't think that makes it $120 worthy. That's just me. Carry case, nothing crazy. All-in-one carry case lets you literally put everything inside of it. You could probably, I don't know, hide your weed in here too. Tons of space. And then the official AC adapter, $30. You know, I don't trust third-party chargers with Nintendo Switches. I think the older ones used to like mess up sometimes. So you might be stuck buying this fucking $30 charger if yours breaks, if there's some sort of weird handshake or send off of information for the Switch to properly charge without having too much voltage. And of course, there's the game cards. Internet went out and back. There's the game cards because you're going to need it. Only 256 gigabytes of storage on this bad boy. But I will say one thing about Nintendo. Nintendo is very good at compressing games down to unholy levels of small. And that's pretty good. I hope Mario Kart World is like 60 gigs, right? 70 gigs. That would leave you tons of space still for like a bunch of indies and maybe Metroid Prime. Yeah, it's just going to have to carry the release because the Donkey Kong game's not even out, unfortunately, and there's no good single player. Also, 120 Hz display, but no OLED. OLED drives the price up. So they did LCD, and they'll probably do an OLED revision later with some sort of a battery revision as well. But they're starting with LCD, and I understand the reason why. Do I specifically like it? Honestly, I had a Nintendo Switch Lite. I never had an OLED. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I have, personally, 2 regular LCD monitors. I don't have OLED monitors with 144 hertz. I think they're great. And my Legion Go is an LCD monitor with 144 hertz. But explain to me how last gen product has a better display than the next gen Switch. We don't know that. Just because it's OLED doesn't mean it was the best quality OLED they could have had. The Steam Deck OLED has a way better screen than the Nintendo Switch OLED by a huge margin. The panel they sourced for the Steam Deck OLED is significantly better than the panel that got sourced for the Nintendo Switch 1 OLED, right? So maybe they didn't think they could find a good enough panel at fucking 8.4 inches that could also be 120 hertz capable. Maybe they didn't think they could find a good enough panel, so they reverted back and just got good R&D on a panel that's LCD, that's not going to have really bad, first of all, OLED burn-in, but also would allow them to use 120 hertz without having to worry about potential bad panels on OLEDs giving you OLED flicker. Because sometimes you'll get OLED flicker with a bad panel if you're using over 60 hertz. I think it's over 90 hertz, something like that. That can happen, and it's scary, especially when these things are like mass produced from a factory, and the quality control isn't going to scare away. It's going to scare away a big company. That's what I mean to say. OLED burn-in 2025 is like worrying about a raptor eating your baby. Sure, all right. OLED burn-in is significantly less likely on good panels, but I mean, sourcing. You cannot always find good panels. Same thing with OLED flicker. OLED flicker is not very common. But guess what? It happens on some new smartphones with OLED screens because they were the bad panel. And you got to take that shit back now. Now you got to take it back. Your $1,000 phone, take that shit back in, get it repaired, or take it back to the factory. They have to repair it at the factory, right? Like that costs Nintendo money to have to take those back if there's OLED flicker, if there's OLED burn-in. Burn-in, less so because it means that you've had the device for a long time. But flicker is something that's really scary, especially with anything above 90 hertz. It is something that is very possible and scares away a lot of people that don't really want to worry about, like, they want a good quality screen but not the best, and I think that's good too, because at this price, tell me you'd pay $100 more for this for an OLED screen, $150 more for an OLED screen that could potentially do 90 to 120 hertz. This is the best way to keep the price of it low at launch, because of course we'll probably get a Switch 2 Lite and we'll probably get a Switch 2 OLED at some point once they do the research for it, once they figure out how to get the battery stuff worked out. Actually, battery life is usually better with OLED, so they don't even really have to change much about the battery if the battery life on this one's already good. Some technical specs I want to talk about before I stop talking about the Switch 2, which I'm pretty excited for, is 12 gigs of RAM. It's using some sort of NVIDIA Tegra Ampere-based processor, so RTX 30 series. Says it can go 120 hertz, 1080p on the actual panel itself. We're going to talk about that. There's going to be some caveats, I'm sure of it. And 4K 60 hertz on the adapter itself. Now, I want to talk about this. This is using NVIDIA hardware. We are almost certainly getting some form of DLSS adjacent upscaling to get to that 4K and 1080p resolutions. Do I hate? Upscaling. No, the other consoles use it as well. They use forms of FSR and dynamic resolution scaling and TSR, temporal resolution scaling, or temporal super resolution. My bad. They use DRS. My bad. Dynamic resolution scale. I said DSR, didn't I? My bad. They use upscaling methods to get to 4K from something like 1440p, sometimes even lower, like 900, 1080, 1200. Those are actually what it's going to be running at. I'm almost certain natively this thing is running at 720p for some of the less demanding games and 540p for some of the more demanding games, and upscaling to 1080p. As long as it still looks good, especially because DLSS is beast. DLSS is so strong. So if Nintendo worked with NVIDIA to create some sort of Nintendo Switch 2 super sampling in S2SS, we'll be fine. But just letting everyone know now, for those people who are sticklers for native resolution, you're not getting native resolution 1080p in most games. You're probably not. I can't go back to LCD. I've never gone to OLED, so maybe that's why, right? I can see how some people who've had OLED forever can't go back to LCD. So it's just one of those things where they're trying to get this thing out the door as fast as possible for the most common denominator. The most common denominator don't give a fuck about OLED. They have no idea what the fucking OLED is. They've got no idea. So they'd rather just use a good, high-quality LCD panel that allows them to use 120 hertz. They didn't say anything about variable refresh rate. Hopefully it does, to keep the price down. Maybe in a year, 2 years, we'll have an OLED version at $100 more, $120 more, and a Switch 2 Lite at $120 less. $150 less, maybe. 300 flat instead of like 320, 330. But I'm excited for the Switch 2. I yapped about it enough. I'm sure we all watched the Direct, and now we just came over here to see what I think about it. And I think that it's a neat little product. I'm hoping that it kind of fills the gap in the market for the people who wanted a PC gaming handheld, but were scared really to deal with PC, right? Your option was the Steam Deck, because it's the simplest, or deal with the daunting task of Windows on a fucking handheld. Because Windows on a fucking handheld, unless you know how to use Windows, unless you know how to use computers, unless you want to troubleshoot sometimes, because it happens to me, even as someone who understands computers, get frustrated with my fucking Legion Go. It happens. I love my Legion Go. Hell yeah, I think it's sick. But it pisses me off. So this is that stopgap solution where you get a stronger handheld with decent enough features. But is it enough? Is it going to bring people back to liking Nintendo or to appreciating the work Nintendo does? Because honestly, they've done a lot of scummy things that have scared people off recently. Meanwhile, everyone has moved on to third-party communication support like Discord. Yeah, I think them finally having game chat is cool, but I'm really sad because they didn't just say, oh, we also have Discord support, by the way. Because if they just said, we'll also have Discord support, by the way, everyone would just be like, yeah, let's fucking go, and that would have been the end of it. Anyways, I hope you guys are excited for the Switch 2. If you're not, tell me about it in the comment section down below. Are there any games that you're hoping get Nintendo Switch 2 remasters, or is there any games you're hoping come to Nintendo Switch 2? Talk about it all in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more talk segments like this. They're not regular. I just upload when I feel like it. I'm not going to commit to doing like weekly videos. I'm sorry. But it is my affiliate anniversary today if you're watching on the Twitch. But if you're watching on the YouTube, come by the Twitch, follow. Maybe just subscribe to the channel since it's my affiliate anniversary and you missed it live on Twitch, you know, because that's really fucked up. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time. It's been Beanie Thuggish for the YouTubes talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 and my thoughts on it now that we've got confirmation of price and release date, signing out and saying peace.